Hello friends, thanks so much for joining me today. In this video I wanted to chat about a topic I really don't think I've ever specifically addressed before, and it's the different kind of sublines, I might call them, that various brands have created. And I'm not talking about something that's limited edition, but more so these different branches that different brands have developed that are definitely a long-standing part of the line, and what ones really stand out to me as being the best. And I think we see this a little more in drugstore brands just having their own little avenues. As I start mentioning these, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get what she's talking about. And I feel like I've thought of a lot of these, but if there's anything I've forgotten, definitely chime in the comments section, because you know, I'm naming some of the ones that really were front of mind for me, but it's definitely possible that I've overlooked something here. But I wrote down a bunch on my list and I just kept thinking, oh yeah, that one's good, that one's good. So let's start out with what kind of started this for me. I was thinking about this whole Lumi line from L'Oreal and how successful it has been over really a long period of time, because as I think I mentioned in another video, these Lumi Glotions, these glowy primers that really can give you that Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter kind of vibe under your makeup, they've been around for quite some time. And I feel like with TikTok and just product recommendations going crazy, these have kind of come back to be a top story among drugstore makeup products, I feel right now. I'm holding the Light Glow shade, which is kind of like my skin tone match. I actually wore this as a primer today, but I also love working in the Deep Glow, which goes on me and gives me this nice bronzy tint. So those are great. You guys know my love for this little highlighting palette. This actually comes in two shades. The Moon-Kissed one is very near and dear to my heart. I love the kind of undetectable glow that these things give. It's brightness, really, just an immediate brightening to the skin, more so than you would even think just by looking at this palette. And you will touch them and you'll be like, oh, they're not that soft, they're not super buttery, but they have an absolutely perfect like impact on the skin. It's great. And then very recently I finally found the shade I wanted in person, this Lumi Bronze It in the shade Deep. And this is a gorgeous bronzer as well. If you like a little glow in your bronzer, like, I have been astounded at how pretty that is, and I've got some of that on today on top of a couple other things. But I just think that's a really strong, I would call it a subline for L'Oreal. You know what I mean? It's not limited edition, but it's just, you know, a branch of their brand. That one definitely stands out to me as one of the best. Another one that I very first thought of was Holy Hydration for e.l.f. And that's really a skincare range. And I've got a lot of those products downstairs because I use that Holy Hydration moisturizer in the tub every night. Like, that has been my go-to night cream for, I want to say, well over a year now. My skin has been doing great. So there's that. They have a great SPF version of that stuff. Do I have one up here? The tub looks like this. This is the SPF 30 version, but then I just use the regular non-SPF, which also comes in fragrance-free. You use that every night. They've got a great Holy Hydration eye cream. More recently, this hand cream, you guys, is great. This is one of their newest releases in the Holy Hydration line. Just keep it up here. I love it. It's really helped my hands out a bunch because they just get so dry with washing hands, hand sanitizer, all the things. And they've got a great lip mask too, lip sleeping mask. So that range of e.l.f., I feel like it started out great. I know the standard moisturizer was like one of the first things they put out, but it just keeps getting better. You know, they keep adding to it with great, highly moisturizing things. And the neat thing about that Holy Hydration, you guys know I like rich moisturizers, you know, and it's kind of funny that at nighttime that feels like enough to me, but it does. You know, it's hyaluronic acid, it's got a richness and thickness to it that you may not expect out of a drugstore product like that. So that's, I think, one of the absolute best sublines that a brand has created. Another little range that I think is super great is e.l.f.'s Bite Size line. I've got a bunch of bite size things here, like these little compacts. They're all this size, various things. My absolute favorite bite-sized item are their face duos. I have 3 favorite shades. Overall pick Watermelon. This one one's gorgeous, just kind of a wear anytime type of blush, but this highlighter is just incredibly brightening. So pretty. So I love that one. I've devoted a whole video to creating kind of a monochromatic look centered around spiced apple. So that one's great. It looks like the highlight might not be that bright, but they just appear brighter than they look in the pan is all I can say. But that's nice for a warm look, a fall look maybe. And then also the one I'm wearing today is Pomegranate. And this is a gorgeous kind of berry blush. It gives that beautiful like richness to the cheeks. You got to kind of go slow with it because it can be intense. And then a really pretty highlight with that as well that has just a little bit of a goldeny vibe. Love those. Of course, a lot of people know about the eyeshadow quads as well. I'm actually wearing this later release to this line called I Love You a Latte. I think that's what it's called. And this is just their basic all matte, which is actually really nice to have. Just these very like core basic shades. You've got crease colors, you've got something deeper, you've got that cream shade as well, and it just creates the basic timeless classic eye. Another one that I've liked a lot that I used not that long ago in a video is the Carnival Candy one. This has those nice rich tones like a brick shade. A really gorgeous blue is in there as well. That kind of makes me think fall too. And then they've also expanded to have little brow palettes, which are exceptional also with their pigmentation. And that's the thing. Pigment, pigment, pigment in these little bite-sized palettes. Here you're getting two versions of a wax, one tinted, practically feels like a classic pomade, and then a clear wax and two powders. So I think we would all have to agree that that's been a pretty successful sub-line of a brand. Another incredible sub-range, I think, is the Maybelline Superstay line. Like, think of all the great products, just like all-time greats, I think, that have come out of this line. Like in terms of full coverage drugstore foundation, like this stuff is awesome. The Maybelline Superstay. This is the newest version of that packaging. I have it in the shade Warm Nude. Just gorgeous stay all day product. I haven't worn this one in a while, I will admit, but I do love that stuff. And if we're talking just standout drugstore foundations, this is definitely in that conversation. But also what I think the Superstay line is known for so much are the lip products. It started with the matte inks, you know, the liquid lipsticks. This shade called Lover, I think this was the first one I ever had, and it really is to this day probably the one I reach for the most out of this range. I know I'm going to get a beautiful like kind of pinky soft berry look out of that one, but then these. I love my matte ink crayons, and I'm wearing today one that doesn't get enough love, but I adore the shade. It's called Own Your Empire. Yeah, beautiful red that you can count on, that's not going to slip off your lips, and just a real classic red. Not too warm, not really on the pinky side at all, just a real true red. And then I wanted to mention, since you know we're coming up on fall, my favorite fall combo. I love wearing these together. You know, I've worn Live on the Edge a ton, just regardless of season. I always bring in this kind of like dark dusty rose to be a partner to so many different lip colors when I just want to deepen them up or just add a little dimension. But if you wear Enjoy the View, like this is where the fall combo comes in. This one's a little bit peachy. It's like a soft terracotta mixed with some peach, and those two together just look awesome on the lips. So if you're considering, you know, getting a couple shades, Enjoy the View and Live on the Edge are phenomenal. But you know, that whole Superstay range really has some stud products. And then if we're talking about that, I think the gateway product for Superstay to become popular from Maybelline was probably the long-standing success of Colorstay for Revlon, right? So the couple of things from the Colorstay line that I think get me the most are probably the foundation. It's, to this day, this is still a great foundation. I like how it's always been in the combo to oily or the normal to dry. When I first started using this stuff years ago, like at the start of my channel, I was the combo to oily. I have become the normal to dry. Is that not proof of my aging process here on YouTube? I still can get the shade Fresh Beige. I love that color. It now has a pump. It didn't always have that. And you know, it's a classic, great long wear foundation. I think it kind of laid the foundation for Maybelline to do what they did, but also the lip liners. You know, the Colorstay lip liners are, I think, the best of the best. And I did a TikTok specifically devoted to the nude shade. If you only got one, you know, I think this is an important one because it's deeper than you might think, and so it can do a lot. It looks pretty all on its own, but it looks great framing a really nude lip. Okay, so like a really light lipstick or layering up with another light lip liner, this gives that you know, depth and just kind of like makes the product make sense. And then it's gorgeous with a gloss layered up on top. Staying power, these outlast everything. These are the best lip liners, period. Gosh, I think I've got one more brand to talk about here, and I didn't mean for this to be really a drugstore exclusive conversation, but as you can see, it turned out to be mostly drugstore. But another subline I would like to mention that I think actually has some really great products is the Glowish line by Huda. This is my base product that I'm wearing today, this Multi-Dew Skin Tint, which I wear in 03 Light. I've worn this a lot on and off over the summer, and it gives this gorgeous glow to the skin, like a lot of luminosity actually, that I kind of, you know, temper a little bit with maybe some powder, and I've got concealer on also. But if you like glowy skin, this is a really beautiful option. And they're also making a great powder and bronzer too in this range. So this powder just kind of has a little bit of glowiness to it. It kind of reminds me of like take an Hourglass powder, but soften it up a little bit and give it a little more coverage. That's what the Glowish powder reminds me of. So I wear that in 03 Light. They call that luminous pressed powder. That looks so pretty on top of darn near anything. And they make a really nice bronzer as well, which I swear they've taken, you know, a page out of Hourglass's playbook on this one too. It's got that swirled tone. It's actually not unbelievably glowy. Like I never notice a ton of glow coming from this, but I have Tan Light in the Soft Radiant Bronzing Powder. I don't know how much love that little spin-off of Huda gets, but I think those products are quite good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh man, Estee Lauder Double Wear. You know, there's a whole sub line. That foundation is absolutely iconic, and then they've got like fuller coverage versions and lighter versions. Man, I can't believe I didn't think of that like right off the bat. But I would love to hear in the comments section, like what can you think of? What different spin-offs have really worked, and maybe what are some that haven't worked so well? It could be something that's still made to this day, or maybe it's not being made anymore. But I think it's interesting to talk about brands through the lens of, you know, it's not just e.l.f. e.l.f. has their different avenues, you know, which ones are really the best. That Lumi stuff from L'Oreal, I mean, that stuff's having a moment and it's been out for a while. That's interesting. So yeah, just a little brand chat here today in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This just popped into my head over the weekend. I thought I've got to talk about this. This is fun for me. So I hope you enjoyed as well, and thank you so much for your time. I will see you guys again very soon. I love you. Bye.